Now what you are seeing is the computer chessboard. Chessboard consists of 64 squares, 32 black and 32 white squares. Even if the board color is green and white or brown and white, one should mention it as only black and white in chess. Okay, now how to place the board? The board should be kept in such a way that the white corner square should come to your right hand side. Naturally, the black square will be at your left hand side. Now see the brown arrow. In chess it is called a lion. This is a line actually. At the bottom of the board you can see it is written as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. These vertical rows are called lines or file. The brown arrow denotes A line. Similarly, B line, C line, D line and so on. Now you see the blue horizontal line. This is called rank. This horizontal line is called rank actually. So we have first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, fifth rank, sixth rank, seventh rank and eighth rank. The numbers are written in the side, you can see that also. So now the yellow arrow you see, this is called diagonal. You have white diagonal and black diagonal. The bishop moves only along the diagonals. Now you can identify the chess squares by its name. See, some of the squares are written. So A8, B7, B5, B2, C4 are written. Likewise, you can identify the other squares also. Now the king should be placed in the black square as in the diagram, and the queen should be placed near to that. White king on black square and black king on white square. Now what you see is the normal pieces of the chessboard. Queen, that is first is king, queen, rook, bishop, knight and pawn. There is some value for the pieces. The king has got no value, because if the king goes, then there is no game. So queen has 9 points, rook has 5 points, bishop has 3 points, knight has 3 points and pawn 1 point. The value of the pieces will be useful while cutting of the pieces. You should not lose higher value piece to a lower value piece while making exchanges. So you should know the value of the pieces correctly. 3 pawns is equal to, we can say, to a knight or a bishop, or bishop and knight is more than a. This is the computer picture of the board and coins. I hope you can identify the queen, king and other pieces. Now you see there is a bishop, knight, rook near the queen and also near the king. You see the blue line which cut the board vertically into two halves. The left hand side is queen side and the right hand side is king side. Now you can also see the green line which cuts the board into two halves horizontally. The below 4 ranks belongs to white, and that is his area. And the other 4 ranks belongs to black, that is black area. One should go to the opponent area to defeat him. One should enter with pieces and pawns to attack either the king or his pieces to capture the king or win material. Winning material is equal to winning the game in general. The center squares of the board is also important, which is denoted by black lines. Since computers is very important, one should be familiar with the computer pieces. Now we are going to see movement of the pieces. Pawns are placed on the second rank. From the initial position, pawns can move 2 steps at a time in straight line only, or 1 step also. It's an optional one. You can move 2 steps forward or 1 step, but after moving from the initial position 1 step or 2 steps, the pawn can move only 1 step at a time. If there is a pawn on the next square on its line, either his own or his opponent, the pawn cannot move further. It is blocked by its own pawn or by the opponent pawn. Pawn cannot move backwards. The only piece that cannot move backwards is pawn. All other pieces can move backwards also. A pawn can be promoted to a new queen or a rook or bishop or knight if it reaches the 8th rank, that is opponent's first rank. There is also a special pawn move that's called en passant move, which we will see later. Pawn has a value of 1 point. 3 pawns is roughly equal to a bishop or a knight. Now we will move on to knight movements next. Knight moves totally 3 squares. It moves straight 2 squares and turn 1 square either to left or right. It can move on all directions, front, back, left or right. It covers a maximum of 8 squares when placed in the center. It moves to alternate squares, that is, if it is placed in white, it moves to black square and vice versa. A knight placed in the edge of the board can cover only 4 squares and loses half of its strength. We see the black knight, which can only cover 4 squares, being placed at the edge of the board. So there is also another way to know the knight movement. You refer the black knight. You go straight 1 square on all directions, 4 directions, and then move diagonally to 1 square. This way also you can play the knight. You remember whichever way it is easier for you. The only piece that can jump over the pieces is knight. If there is any pieces on its line, it can jump and then sit on the 3rd square. If on that square, suppose there is an opponent piece, it can cut that piece. If his own piece is on that 3rd square, then it cannot move there. So knight has value of 3 points. Now we will move on to the next bishop movements. The bishop moves diagonally on the color of the square on which it stands. As it moves diagonally only, it cannot move to the other color. White bishop moves only to white squares and black bishop only to black squares. If a bishop is placed in the center, it can cover a maximum of 13 squares. It can move both frontwards, backwards. If any pawn stands on the black square, the white bishop cannot attack or cut the pawn, as it moves only to white square only. Now we will move on to the rook movements. Rook moves in horizontal direction and also in vertical direction, in straight line, backwards and also in frontwards. It covers a maximum of 14 squares irrespective of its placement, whether in the center or not. But one should place the rook in the center to shift it easily to the attacking point. The rook won't move diagonally like a bishop. Rook has a value of 5 points. Now we move on to the queen movements. Queen moves diagonally like a bishop. If the queen stands on the black square, it moves diagonally on black squares like a bishop and also moves like a rook, that is vertically and horizontally, back side, front side, left or right hand side. So it has the combined power of bishop and rook and covers 27 squares when placed in the center. Since it covers nearly half of the board, this is a powerful piece which should be used to its maximum. We should maneuver the queen to the opponent area and should attack well. The queen has 9 points. Now we will move on to the king movements. The king move one square at a time in all directions. Maximum it can cover 8 squares if it is placed in the center. If it is on the edge of the board, it can cover only 5 squares. The king cannot come near to the opponent king, that is cannot occupy the square next to the enemy king. Now we will move on to the capturing of pieces. First we will see how pawn captures. Actually pawn moves in straight line but cuts diagonally only. It cuts the pawn or a piece which stands diagonally 1 square apart, that is the adjacent pawn which stands diagonally 1 square apart in both directions, left or right. The diagram shows only left direction for white pawns. The 3 white pawns can cut the black pawns, that is bishop 4 into a5, e4 into d5, h4 into g5. Similarly, if it is the turn of the black, if it is black turns, then black also can cut the white pawns, because black pawns are standing diagonally on the adjacent square only and 1 square apart. If it stands 2 squares apart or 3 squares apart, it cannot cut. For one move, one capture only can be done. Pawns blocked by its own pawn or by opponent pawn cannot move further. If it wants to move further, it has to cut some pawn or piece and change the line, and then only can move. In the next diagram, we see the effect of pawn captures. The effect of pawn capture is shown in this diagram. After capture of the pawn, the opponent pawn should be removed from the board and kept outside. The pawn which cuts the pawn or piece should occupy the place or be placed on the square on which the opponent piece or pawn stood. In the diagram, it is shown that 3 cuts, but actually only one move is possible, only one cut is possible. For example purpose, 3 cuts are shown in the diagram. So now we will move on to the next capture, that is piece capture. In this position, the black pawn on e5 is attacked by rook, bishop, and also knight. If it is white turn to play, it can capture the pawn by any of these pieces. After the capture, the pawn should be taken out of the board and kept outside, and the piece that captures should be placed on the square of the pawn. The same applied to capture of a piece. In the next diagram, we see the effect of the capture by the knight actually. So we'll move on to the next diagram. The pawn is captured by the knight here. The pawn is taken out and the knight is placed in the pawn's position. In the same way, if rook or bishop captures the pawn, rook or bishop is replaced by the pawn. The captures are denoted by into symbol. Here n into e5 is the correct recording. Now we will move on to the next diagram, that is how to capture the pieces. Here we see knights and pawn, white knight and black knight. Pawns can be captured by these knights, but which are all the pawns that could be captured? One should be very careful while capturing pieces and pawns. You should not lose points while capturing. Here the knight has 3 points. If you capture a pawn which is supported, then you lose the knight. You got 1 point and you lose 3 points. So totally you lost 2 points. So now in the diagram, if you see, the white knight is attacking b7 pawn, a6 pawn, a4 pawn and b3 pawn. But b3 pawn is supported by a4 pawn and the a6 pawn is supported by b7 pawn. So if you capture the a6 pawn and b3 pawn, you lose the knight and you lose 2 points. And if you capture b7 pawn or a4 pawn, then there is no problem. On the other hand, black also, if it is black turn to play, then you can capture knight into g2 or d5 or even h5. But you should not capture knight into e6 or knight into g6 or knight into h3. So in this way you have to make captures. So now we will move on to the next diagram, that is exchanges, that is equal exchanges, equal value of pieces exchanges. So while exchanging pieces, higher value of pieces should not be exchanged for a lower value of pieces. You may lose the game if you exchange like that, but equal value of pieces can be exchanged. Here in the diagram you can see 3 pieces could be exchanged. So first white goes for rook into rook check and black plays rook into rook, and then white goes for knight into c4. So meanwhile, before taking b pawn into c4, bishop into knight check intermediate move is possible for black. So he can play bishop into knight check and pawn into bishop, and then he can go for pawn into knight. So now we will move on to the next diagram for the resulting position of these exchanges. Here we see the resulting position after the 3 exchanges were made. The b pawn that is the b5 pawn has come to c4 for black, and for white the g2 pawn has come to f3 after the exchange. The rook on a8 has come to d8. So now we will move on to the next important topic, pawn special move, that is en passant. There are two special moves in chess. One is called en passant. En passant means while pausing, and the other one is castling. Castling is discussed in the next diagram. So when your pawn is on the 5th rank, and if your opponent commits its adjacent pawn to two squares, that is on the 4th rank, then en passant is possible. So why this rule is, when a soldier occupies the opponent territory, a soldier cannot bypass this soldier which is in his territory. So looking at the diagram, we can see 3 of the white pawns are in the 5th rank. So it has entered the opponent's territory. If an adjacent black pawn moves 2 steps and comes to the next square to the enemy pawn, suppose in this case let us assume that black moves to e5, then white has the option of capturing this pawn as though it has moved to e6, that is only one square. Even if the opponent moved 2 squares, we can assume that it has moved to only one square, and then we can capture as though it has moved to e6. The pawn can be captured on either direction, that is by d5 pawn or f5 pawn, that is d into e6 or f into e6. So in this diagram you can also see that black pawns are on the 5th rank. So if white pawn moves to c4, then it can be, the c pawn can be cut by blacks either by b pawn or d pawn. So en passant move should be played on the immediate next move, otherwise you loses the option. Any number of en passant capture can be done, but it should be on the next move only. So now we will move on to the next special move, that is castling. A simultaneous move of the king and its rook is allowed in the course of the game. The purpose of the move is to put the king to safety and is called a castling move. This move is considered as one move only. Castling can be done on the king side or on the queen side. Castling should be made by one hand only. First you must touch the king, and then only the rook should be touched. Otherwise it will be considered as an illegal move. So for queenside castling, if you take example for white, we can say that the king, for queenside castling, the king should go to c1 and the rook should come to d1. So it is considered as one move only. In the same way, if for kingside castling, the king should go to g1, the rook will come to f1. The same way, black king should go to g8 and rook should come to f8. Now we see the position after castling move. White has castled on the king side. Though the king has come, so the king has come to g1 and the rook has come to f1. This is considered as only one move, as I had already said. And the king and the black king goes to c8 and the rook comes to d8 for queenside castling. Now we will see in the next diagram the rules pertaining to castling. So castling is not permitted if the king has moved from its original square. Castling cannot be done both on the queen side or king side if the king is moved from its original square. So if the king is under check also, you cannot castle. If the rook on the queen side moved from its original square, then you cannot play queen side castling. In the same way, if the king side rook moved from its original position, king side castling is also not possible. So if the king comes under check as a result of castling, then castling is not permitted. If some other pieces stands in between the king and the rook, then also you cannot castle. See, if a square the king has to pass through is under check by the enemy piece, then also you cannot castle. So these are the conditions for castling. So now you look at the diagram. Here white can castle on the king side but cannot castle on the queen side, as it has to pass through d1, which is under check by the black bishop. So the white can castle on the king side. See, the white queen is attacking the rook, but the king is passing through only f1 and g1. So king side castling is allowed, but he cannot castle on the queen side because the king moves to d1 and c1, but it cannot castle because the bishop on h5 is checking the d1 square. So queen side castling is not allowed, but king side castling is allowed. In the same way, black can castle on the queen side, but it cannot castle on the king side. See, the king moves to g8 while castling on the king side, but it is covered by the white bishop on c4. So it is not possible for black to castle on the king side, but it can castle on the queen side. The knight only seeing the b8 square, but the king moves to d8 and c8 only. So no problem for castling on the queen side. So next we will move on to the another important chapter, check to the king. An attack against the king is called check, that is threatening to capture the king next move is called check. You need not announce check. It is the duty of the opponent to see the check and protect his king. So in the first diagram you can see that the black king is under attack by the white knight. So the knight is giving check to the king. Now you see the second diagram. The black king is attacked by the white queen. So white queen gives a check to the king. Now in the third diagram, black's white bishop is giving check to the white queen. And in the fourth diagram, black rook is giving check to the white king. So check need not be announced, as I said, and it is the duty of the opponent to see the check and protect his king. Now we will move on to the next diagram, that is how to protect the king from checks. Normally, when the king is under check, there are three ways of defense. One is capturing the piece that declares check. The second one is to move away the king from check. Third one is to cover the check with his own piece or pawn. So in the diagram we can see that the black bishop on a6 is checking the king on e2. Applying the first method of defense, capturing the piece that gives check does not apply here. Even though rook can capture the bishop, black can recapture the rook. So white gives a 5-pointer rook and gets back 3-pointer bishop. So he loses 2 points and also may lose the game. So he should not capture the bishop, even though he can capture, he should not capture because it is supported. Now coming to the second method of defense, the king can move away from the diagonal, that is b5, c4 and d3, e2, f1 diagonal. So it has f3 move is possible and also e1 is possible. It cannot go to d line because the rook on d8 is covering that d line fully. So he cannot move to d line. He can move to e1 or f3. So in this way he can escape from check. And the third one is he can cover the diagonal, that is b5, c4, d3 on any of the squares. He can cover. He can cover in this diagram. He can cover on c4 by the bishop or by the knight or by pawn. So in this way he can prevent the check. He can move the pawn to c4, he can move the bishop to c4, he can move the knight to c4. Now we see an example of knight check to the king. When the king is under check by the knight or pawn, there is only two methods of defense. So one is capturing the piece that declares check, that is knight, or moving away from the check by the king. The third one, covering the check with his own piece or pawn, is not possible when the king is under check by the knight or pawn. So now in the diagram we can see that the white knight has declared check to the black king. So if the knight is captured by the queen, then white can recapture the queen with the pawn. So black loses 9 points and takes 3 points. So 6 points plus for white or minus 6 points for black. So black should not play like this, and he has only one chance left. He has to move the king only. So the squares available for the king is c line, on the c line c8, c7, c6 or d8. The knight is covering e8 and the bishop on a3 is covering d6 and e7. So it can move only to d8 or in the c line, 3 squares in the c line. So now we will move on to the next check by pawn. Next we will see pawn check. See, in the first diagram, the pawn is giving check to the king. There is only two methods of defense. The king has to move, otherwise he can cut the pawn if he can. But the pawn cannot be captured because the pawn is supported by another pawn. So there is only one method of defense left. He has to move the king. He can move the king to white squares, anywhere white squares and black squares behind it. So coming to the next diagram, we can see that the pawn is giving check, but now it is supported by rook. So it cannot be captured and the king has to move. Now coming to the third one, the king should not be, the king cannot give check to the opponent king. The king should be at least one file or rank apart from each other. So now coming to the next diagram. So we see that the rook is checking the black king. So applying the method of defense, the rook is not attacked by any of the black pieces, so it cannot be captured. The second method, moving the king from check. There are three squares available actually, b8, c7 and b7, but c7 and b8 are covered by the black bishop, the white's black bishop on f4, and b7 is covered by the bishop on g2. So it cannot, the black cannot move the king. The second defense also not there. The third one, the final one, is to cover the king by his own piece. So black is left with only one option. He is forced to play the knight to c5 to cover his king from the rook check. So white now can play bishop into b pawn into b into c5, winning the knight 3 points. So now coming to the next diagram, that is checkmate diagram. In this diagram, the black queen has declared check on the diagonal c5 to g1. He cannot cut the queen or move the king. So only way to prevent the check is to play bishop to e3. If he plays bishop to e3, then the queen can capture which check, queen into e3 check, and the rook has to cover the king, only move left for white, but black can play queen into f2 checkmate. So now we will see some typical checkmate in the next diagram. In the diagram, single rook mate is illustrated. Single rook can mate only when the enemy king is forced to the edge of the board. The kings should be facing each other with one square apart, as in the diagram. The king cannot move upward, move to second rank, as the black king is covering all the squares. Now we will move to the second typical mate. Here in this diagram, pawns are giving mate. Pawn is giving mate. The white square is covered by the black king. So white king cannot go to the white square. Two black squares are also covered by another pawn. So it's a clear mate, check and mate. We need not say checkmate. We can say only checkmate is mate is enough. Here the checkmate is achieved without the support of the king. One rook is covering the 7th rank. The other rook goes to the 8th rank. That is, the rook on g6 goes to g8 to give checkmate to the black king. Now moving on to the next diagram. This is also a typical mate position, but in a castled position. This diagram shows a typical mate with the bishop and knight. The white king is under check by the knight, but has no square to move. Both white squares are covered by the bishop. So it is checkmate, or simply we can say mate. The ultimate aim of the game is to capture the enemy king only. When the king is under check and has no defense, then it is checkmated. Now moving on to the next position, typical mate position in a castle position actually, with the combination of queen and bishop or queen and knight. The diagram position shows that the white queen with the support of the bishop or knight checkmates the black king. So the three options, that is capture of the checked piece and moving the king away from the check, and also covering the squares is not possible here, so it is checkmated. Now this position shows checkmate on g7 with the help of black bishop, and also knight is also present there. So the queen needs a support only. If the queen is not supported, the black king can capture the queen. So for easy understanding, bishop and knight also shown in the diagram. It is enough if bishop is there or a knight is there. So now moving to the next diagram, we will see that the queen is supported by the rook and mate is given on h7. So these are the typical positions when king is castled on the king side. A player should know all the typical mating positions. Here the knight and queen combines to give a mate, but let us suppose the queen was on d1, so it should be maneuvered to the mating position. So if the queen was on d1, it can come to d3 or h3 or even g4, and then can move to h4 or h3 to give checkmate on h7 with the support of the knight. So in this way you should identify where the checkmate is and what pieces should be used to give checkmate, and then you should maneuver the piece or pieces to the correct square to give checkmate. Now we will see another important checkmate by the queen, but it is supported by the pawn. Checkmate is possible by the queen even supported by the pawn. There is no need for piece support. It can give checkmate with the help of pawn support also. Now moving to the next diagram, we see two rooks are placed on the 7th rank and one rook is giving check on h7. The king has to move to g8 only. It cannot capture the rook because there is another rook which gives support. So it has to move to the g8 square only. Now if the king moves to g8, then other rook comes to g7 and gives mate. Now we will see what is stalemate in chess. See, if one has no legal square for the king to move, and most importantly if he is not in check also, and there is no other pieces or pawns to move to make a legal move, then it is called stalemate position. Stalemate is considered as a draw only. Now in this position you can see that white king has no squares, and if it is white turn to move, he cannot move to white square because the black king is covering that square, and he cannot move to black squares on its right or left because the pawn is covering those squares. So if it is white turn to move, it is a stalemate position, and if it is black turn to move, he can move to one of the black squares near the pawn and win the game. Now again, here it is again a stalemate because the white king has no legal move. The king is covering the g8 square, queen also covering the g8 square. So if it is white turn to move, then it is stalemate, and if it is black turn to move, you can mate by queen g2. Now we will move on to the next stalemate position. The rook is placed on b7, the only square which can give stalemate. Stalemate is considered to be a draw only. If there is some pieces or pawns for black, he has to move the pawn or pieces. But since he has no pieces or pawn, it's a stalemate only. Now it is again a stalemate, even though white has mating material, bishop and knight. If it is black turn to move, he has no legal move. So again it's a stalemate and only a draw. If the bishop is, if it is white's turn to move, then the bishop can be released so as to give black a move. But since there is no square for black, it is a stalemate here. Now there is another draw position which is illustrated in the diagram. So a draw can be achieved by a stalemate, which we have now seen, and also by perpetual check, that is check without purpose, a series of checks from which the opponent's king cannot escape. In this position, white is a rook down, so he wants to give perpetual check and take a draw. White queen can give check on e8, and when the king goes to h7, he can give a queen check from h5. So black king has to repeat the moves as he has nowhere to go. So white can claim a draw by repeating the position. Now we will move on to the last diagram, that is notations, that is knowing the recording of the game. See, if you want to participate in a tournament, you must record your game. So organizer, it is a record of the organizer. So in this position, 5 moves have been displayed. The square name is the same for both white and black players. If the pawn moves, then it is denoted by the square on which it reaches. So first move e4. e4 means the pawn moves to e4 square. Now black plays e5. The pawn goes to e5 square. So if the square name is mentioned, then it is pawn move only. So you can see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. These are all file names, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 has been mentioned on the left side. These are all, this will define the square name. So A1, A2, A3, A4, like that you have to mention. So white move to E4 and black move to E5. Next, second move is white moves to knight F3. So how to record it means, first you should mention the piece which moves, second to the square it moves. So knight goes to F3. So knight goes to F3 is the NF3 is the correct recording. Now knight goes to F6. Black plays knight goes to F6. So first move the piece which moves. The second is the square. So knight F6. So same thing, knight C3, knight C6. Square should be mentioned in small letters and pieces should be mentioned in capital letters. Capital B means bishop, small b means square. So bishop to C4 and then bishop to c5. Castling, kingside castling is denoted by a 0 like that shown in fifth move, and 0 is queenside castling. En passant is e5 into d6 ep. You should mention it as ep. The promotion of pawn is a8 or b8 is equal to queen should be given. Check should be denoted by plus symbol, and mate is denoted by double plus or hashtag. Thank you very much for watching.